Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Savita, Associate Professor and Deputy Director, Sankalp Group, Chandigarh. Today we will be discussing about the module Classical School of Thoughts of the paper Development of Management Thoughts, Principles and Types. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the historical aspect of management thoughts, understand various classical approaches of management, know about the salient features of classical thoughts of management. In management history, two events are very significant. First, in 1776, when Adam Smith published a book named The Wealth of Nations. In this book, Adam Smith argued the economic advantage that organization would gain from job specialization, division of labor. According to Smith, division of labor increased productivity by increasing each worker's skill, saving time and creating labor saving inventions and machinery. The second important event is the Industrial Revolution, starting in the late 18th century when machine power was substituted for human power. It became more economical to manufacture goods in factories instead at home. So, they needed someone who forecast demand, ensure enough material in hand to make products, supervise as well as assign tasks to people, direct daily activities and so on. That someone was managers, and these managers would need formal theories to get the directions in order to smooth running of the organization. So, in early 1900s, first step was taken toward developing such theories. The classical thought to management developed during Industrial Revolution in the year 1900 when different problems related to production and labor began to appear. Some of these were low productivity, low wages, wastage in production and distribution, dissatisfaction of relations between labor and management resulting in loss of man days, etc. It contributed significantly to inefficiency. Both labor and management were suspicious to each other and didn't see eye to eye. Communication system was also defective, which enhanced the degree of discord between labor and management. So, at that time, managers think how to increase the productivity and efficiency of the workers. Efforts were made to find out the best way to get the most work done by examining the work process and dividing the work according to the skills of the workforce. As a result, the classical thought to management developed. It is the oldest thought to management, and the principles developed under this thought are accepted even today. Classical approach of management. These first studies of management described as the classical approach focused rationality and making organizations and workers as efficient as possible. Frederick Winslow Taylor, Frank and Lillian Galbraith, Henry Fayol and Max Weber are the major contributors to the classical school of management. Classical management thought is divided into three separate schools of thoughts, that is scientific management, administrative management and bureaucratic management. Scientific management. The concept of scientific management is developed by Taylor and his contemporary owes its origin to the middle of 19th century. A number of business scientists have made significant contribution to management science, which may be stated as the pace setter for evolving the concept of scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor developed the concept of scientific management on the basis of practical experience he gathered while working with a number of firms, starting with Medieval Street Company as a day laborer in 1878. After a few months, he became the gang boss and after 3 years became the foreman. As a foreman, he decided to change the old system of management. All these efforts gave him promotion to the status of chief engineer in 1884 at the age of 28 years. In 1886, Taylor joined the American Society of Mechanical Engineers and heard a paper read by Henry R. Tone entitled "The Engineer as an Economist." It exercised a profound impact on him. With his experience on the job, in 1893 he presented a thought-provoking paper on a piece rate system. In this paper, he had developed a system of management which was applicable to any system of wage payment. In 1903, he wrote the second paper on shop management, which was the extension of his previous paper on piece rate system. In this paper, the emphasis was on coping the high wages for the worker with low labor cost for the employers. In 1911, his famous book, The Principles of Scientific Management, was published by Harper and Brothers, New York. F.W. Taylor defined scientific management as the substitution of exact scientific investigations and knowledge for the old individual judgment or opinion, either of the workman or the boss, in all matters relating to the work done in the establishment. The workers are selected scientifically and training is provided to both new and existing workers. According to Taylor, scientific management means knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. Principles of scientific management. Principles of scientific management are given below. Science not rule of thumb or research. It means the replacement of old method of doing work scientifically. In simple words, it means develop a science for each element of a man's work which replaces the old rule of thumb method. It includes the allotment of fair work to each worker, standardization in work, adoption of differential piece rate of payment system, etc. Cooperation. Heartily cooperate with the men as to ensure all the work being done in accordance with the principles of scientific management which has been developed. In simple words, there should be cordial relationship between workers and management so that workers should help the management to get larger profits, better quality products and lower cost of production. According to Taylor, mutual understanding and change in thinking are the factors necessary for cooperation. Equal division of work and responsibility. There should be equal division of work and responsibility between the management and the workmen. This principle states that only that work should be assigned to groups which can be performed effectively and efficiently. Management should take decisions and make plan, and labor should be responsible for actually doing the work. In this way, each will be responsible and accountable for their task, and the productivity of the organization will increase. All these promoted the division of responsibility and work. Current period explicit cost. Explicit costs include the payment which is made by the producer to the factors other than his own factors. Explicit costs are mostly in the nature of contractual payments made by the employer to the owner of those factors whose services are hired by him for production. Current period explicit cost includes costs incurred on direct labor engaged on purchase of new materials, certain type of variable overhead costs such as the electricity consumption required to implement the decision can be easily calculated. Harmony in group action. Taylor emphasized peace and friendship in group action. In simple words, dissatisfaction of any worker is to be avoided in the group action. In case there is any dissatisfaction among workers, then it is eliminated through scientific selection, training and strategic placing of workers. Taylor further elaborated that all the workers should be given opportunity to improve, and it will be added the value for a company. Maximum output. The objective of maximum output is achieved through equal division of work and responsibility by the management and workers jointly. If production increases regularly, then it results in the increasing profit to the management and wages and incentives to the workers. So, the workers must be provided proper training from time to time so that their knowledge and efficiency may be increased. Contributions of Taylor. Taylor was the father of scientific management. He has applied the principles of scientific management to solve the problems of management. According to him, it was the duty of the management to aware the employees about the expectations of management from employees. He further stated that management should specify the way through which the job is to be completed. He made several important contributions which are classified under scientific management. Time and motion study. Taylor was the first person to conduct time study and motion study. Time study refers to the act of measuring the time required to perform a particular job. A standard time to do a job is fixed by conducting the time study. Motion study is relating to the movement of a machine operator and his machine while performing the job. The purpose of conducting this study is elimination of unnecessary movement of machine operator and machine. Thus, the best way of doing a job was found. This replaced the old rule of thumb, knowledge of the workman. Differential piece rate system. Taylor focused upon fair wages to workers and had introduced a new payment plan called the differential piecework, in which he linked incentives with production. According to this system, worker get low piece rate if he produced less than the standard number of pieces and high rate if surpassed the standard. According to Taylor, high piece rate would encourage the workers to increase production. Scientific selection and training. Taylor strongly recommended the need for scientific selection and training. According to him, adequate training should be given to new as well as existing workers in order to update their knowledge and enable the workers to do a higher, more interesting and more profitable class of work than he has done in the past. Work study. It refers to the systematic critical assessment of efficiency required to do the job. According to Taylor, method study, motion study, time study and fatigue study are parts of work study. Separation of planning function. Taylor, known as the first person to separate the planning function from executive function. Previously, both planning and executive function were performed by the same person. Taylor suggested two new concepts: separation of planning and execution of work and foremanship. In those days, foreman simply told the worker what job to perform, not how to do them. Taylor recommended that the work should be planned by a foreman and not by the worker, so he suggested the concept of functional foremanship. This concept is totally based on the principle of specialization and makes full utilization of the expertise of various experts. In those days, foreman simply told the worker what job to perform, not how to do them. Taylor recommended that the work should be planned by a foreman and not by the worker. He further stated that 4 foremen should be appointed for planning department and 4/4 production department, which is known as functional foremanship. In planning department, they were route clerk, instruction code clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. And in production department, they were speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, and inspector. Concept of mental revolution. Dear students, Taylor was the first person who spotted mental revolution both on the part of the employer and the employee. By mental revolution, he meant transformation in the traditional thinking of labor and management. He strongly believed enterprise is a cooperative venture of labor and management. If there is no cooperation between two, then the whole concept of scientific management become useless. Such cooperation is possible if both have respect for one another and both partners in decision making process. Taylor advised to workers that they should have a sense of belongingness to the enterprise and to the management to accept workers as partners and involve them in the decision making process. So, in his belief, the success of implementation of scientific management depends upon the mental revolution of management and workers. Administrative management. Henry Fayol wrote during the same time period as Taylor. While Taylor was concerned with first line managers and the scientific management, but Fayol's focus was on the activities of all the managers. Henry Fayol is considered as the father of administrative management theory. Henry Fayol focuses on the development of broad administrative principles which are applicable to general and higher managerial levels. He was a French industrialist. The observations of Henry Fayol on the principles of management were brought out in French language in 1916. He wrote a book entitled Journal and Industrialist Administration. Later on, it was published in English language. The principles of management of Henry Fayol were known to the world only after 1949. Fayol joined as an engineer in mining company and became the chief managing director of the same company for his remarkable abilities and skills. From 1918 to 1926, he worked hard to popularize his principles of management. Fayol wrote that all the activities of business which are described as technical, commercial, financial, accounting, security or administrative, that is management. Henry Fayol used the word administrative for what we call management. He concentrated on top management. It is known from his book Journal and Industrial Management. Management plays a very important role in the government undertakings, whether large or small, industrial, commercial, religious or any other. In the words of Henry Fayol, Business activities could be classified as commercial, financial, security, accounting, technical, and managerial or administrative. Of course, Henry's primary focus on managerial activity because he felt that managerial skills had been the most neglected aspect of business operations. He indicated that managerial activity was by far the most important and deserved the most attention. Henry Fayol draws a clear line between principles of management and elements or functions of management. He considered planning, organizing, commanding, coordination and control as an element or functions of management. Many management theorists and even practitioners have found this classification very realistic and useful. Further, the process of management as a series of functions originated with Henry Fayol. He continuously emphasized that this process is the same at every level of an organization and is common for all types of organizations. Fayol also presented 14 principles of management as general guides to management process and management practice. These are given below. Division of work. Specialization increases output by making employees more efficient. So, principles of specialization necessary for efficiency in utilizing labor. Authority and responsibility. Responsibility is the outcome of authority and arises from it. Managers must be able to give orders and authority gives them the right. Discipline. Every employee must obey and respect the rules that govern the organization. It requires supervision at all levels, clear and fair agreements. Discipline is obtained through judicial application of penalties. Unity of command. Each employee should receive orders from one superior only. In other words, each employee is responsible to only one superior. Unity of direction. It means each group of activities having a common object must have one head and one plan. So, there should be complete harmony between individual and organizational goals on the one hand and between departmental goals on the other hand. Subordination of individual interest to group interest. The interest of the group should have priority over the individual interest. In the event of clash between the journal and the personal interest, the management should bring reconciliation between the two on the basis of priority of general interest. Remuneration. Workers should be paid a fair wage for their services because fair remuneration increases workers' efficiency and morale and foster good relations between workers and management. Centralization. The management must decide the degree of centralization or decentralization of authority on the basis of nature of circumstances, size of undertakings, type of activities, and nature of organizational structure. Scholar chain. The line of authority from top management to the lowest ranks is the scholar chain. According to Fowle, scholar chain is the chain of superiors ranging from the ultimate authority to the lowest ranks. Order. People and materials should be in the right place at the right time. In simple words, a place for everyone and everything in its place. Equity. Managers should be kind and fair to the employees by dealing with employees in a just and kindly manner. Loyalty and distribution of power are required to inspire. Stability of tenure of personnel. Security of job is the fundamental aspect of morale and motivation. Management should provide orderly personnel planning and ensure that replacement is available to fill the vacancies. Initiative. A manager should have the conceiving and executing initiative. It will have psychological effect over the employees. Spirit de corps. Promoting team spirit will build harmony and unity within the organization. It emphasizes the need for the teamwork and the importance of communication in obtaining it. Bureaucratic management. Max Weber, a German social scientist, is known as the father of the theory of bureaucratic management. He wanted to frame a rigid form of organization. He proposed a form of organization which is very similar to the form of organization by Henry Fowle. In the early 1900s, he made a study of different types of business and government organizations and distinguished three basic types of administration in them, that is leader oriented, tradition oriented and bureaucratic. Weber believed that an efficient form of organization cannot be founded if managerial inconsistencies exist. So, he framed rigid rules to eliminate managerial inconsistencies in order to bring effectiveness in an organization. He advocated that strict adherence of rules and regulations in an organization. His firm belief that these would make an efficient form of organization, and he called it bureaucratic, a form of organization characterized by a division of labor, a clearly defined hierarchy, detailed rules and regulations, and impersonal relationship. Features of bureaucratic administration. Max Weber analyzed the various points before finalizing an ideal form of organization. Bureaucratic organization offers a lot of benefit to the public. Important features of bureaucratic administration are as given below. Systematic division of labor. Weber stated that systematic division of work increases production by improving efficiency and saving time. In changing over the one job to another. Each person performs his work in a predetermined manner. In this way, a high degree of functional specialization can be obtained. Hierarchy of authority. Each lower officer is under the control and supervision of a higher authority. A clearly defined hierarchy is needed to give commands for performance of duties. Each superior has control over his subordinates with the right for making a report to higher authorities in a specified manner. Rights and duties. Weber stated that each employee should understand his rights and the duties to be performed. The procedure is to be taken into account while performing the work. Rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are framed to ensure consistency in the performance of work. To achieve this objective, a special training is provided to impart knowledge of rules and regulations. Impersonal relationship. Peoples are selected on the basis of their credentials and merits and are paid according to their position in the hierarchy. Promotions are made systematically. It helps in winning people's loyalty and commitment. Administrative acts, decisions and rules are recorded in writing. This makes the organization independent of people besides making people's understanding more accurate. Now students, let's summarize what we have learned in this module. Management has developed since the time when the word came into existence. Classical approach contains three theories, that is scientific theory, administrative theory and bureaucratic theory. Each one of these approaches has made a distinct contribution to management theory. The stress in the scientific management approach is on task aspect of group effort. In administrative management approach, it is on laying down universal principles of management, and in bureaucracy, it is on following standard rules. F.W. Taylor, known as the father of scientific management, studied manual work using scientific principles as guidelines for improving production efficiency and to find the best way to do these jobs. Henry Fayol believed that the functions of management were common to all business endeavors but were different processes from other business functions. He developed 14 principles of management from which many current management concepts have evolved. Weber described an ideal type of organization he called bureaucracy, which is a type still is used by many of today's large organizations. Thank you.